Everybody, welcome to the Sox Did What podcast. This is your boy Harry, and to my right or left, I don't know. To the right of me is co-host JJ3, and we're here to bring you another weekly Sox talk about our Chicago's favorite team and what they've got going on right now. JJ3, where do you want to begin?
I think the number one place to start would probably be the slew of injuries that have ripped through the team lately. I mean,
Facts.
let's be honest. It's when it rains, it pours, right? So
Absolutely.
we can pretty much start with Aloy going down, getting injured, but that's what Aloy does, right? Like, I mean, I could have set my watch on homeboy getting hurt again.
But this
So
fast though, this
I mean,
fast.
this
It's kind
fast
of crazy.
and running the base paths once again. Like, I don't know how many guys on this team, especially Aloy, can get hurt just running the base path. One of the most basic things you can do in the sport of baseball,
That was
run
crazy.
the bases. And homie got hurt running the bases again.
Instantly. Facts.
So he out for, I want to say he went out, the second, third game of the year? I done lost track. Homie went down so fast, I can't keep up with him. My head's
Second
still
game.
spinning.
I thought
So
they were
he went
just
out.
trolling with the article that he got injured running the bases. I thought it was a
Bro,
joke.
when the update came through on my phone, because I wasn't watching it live, when the update came through on my phone, I said, "What?" So I shook my head, I laughed, then I nodded, like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." I mean, we pretty much predicted he would get hurt. So this is kind of what he does. It's par for the course. Man, Luis Robert though.
How long is he out for?
You got the MVP of the team basically going down for 6 to 8 weeks.
That long?
So yeah, man. And once again, running the bases, right? Running the bases down with an injury again for another 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe he heals quick. Maybe we get lucky and he comes back on the shorter side of things. But to look at this once again and see another White Sox player, another key, pivotal White Sox player, the MVP of the team, Luis Robert, best player on the team, all-star, top 3 at his position across baseball,
Golden
out for
Glove.
6 to 8 weeks, Gold Glove winner, out for 6 to 8 weeks for running the bases. I can't stress that enough. You get hurt running the bases in a sport where running the bases is necessary. Like, come on, man. It's like in the NBA if Kyrie hurts his hand just dribbling the basketball. Oh, I broke my finger dribbling the basketball. Like nothing else happened. But
Facts.
that's what I equate this to. This is not good. This is bad. Okay. This is
No,
terrible.
it's all bad.
And then again, like I said, when it rains, it pours. Yoan Moncada. Come on, man. Like, again, this is another one that I felt like we predicted. Yoan with another injury. He goes down with a hip adductor injury. And this man is out 3 to 6 months. So it's going to be a long time before we see your boy Yoan at third base again.
We need Goldie Simmons, which is the strength and conditioning coach of the Chicago White Sox, to start putting more milk and calcium in these meals he's giving them. Whatever he needs to do, because he's been here since November 2021. Coincidentally, since he's been here, it has been injury history. I don't know what he's doing wrong, but I don't know what he's doing right, because this is getting absurd and way too consistent. So, Goldie Simmons, if you're watching this, we're talking to you. Get your shit together, please.
Not even if you're watching it. Let's send them to him.
Right.
Like, let me get his IG, his socials. Let me get all his information. What his email address is, man. I need to send all of this to him.
And if you need to give these boys AGH, I'll look the other HGH. I'll look the other way. I don't care. I hate that we were the only team not to really have any players that got caught. It explains so much. Like, oh, that's why we couldn't keep up with the Yankees. Wow. Okay. We weren't on the what's the list called with the roids? The
you going back to Balco? Is that what we're doing right now?
Yeah. Like I was no one was more hurt than me that we didn't have enough Sox players on that list. I was like, come on, not even Frank Jones. Like, what is happening here?
Hey, chill out. No big hurt slander. We don't do that.
No,
not on this
no, no.
podcast.
Big,
Let's
no, no.
let's
Big
dial it
Hurt
back.
never took roids. If he did, he would be Barry Bonds. Just putting it out there.
I mean, the man was winning multiple MVPs back to back, so Frank was
He's
doing
he's
something
he's
right
low
without
key
the
goat.
roids.
If you don't like Reuters, him and Ken Griffey are the two goats. If you don't like Reuters, I like Reuters, so they fall to like 20th on the list. Griffey's a lot higher though, but if you don't like Reuters and you don't count anything they did, Ken Griffey and Frank Thomas are literally right there as arguable goats.
I mean, Frank is arguably one of the best right-handed hitters of in the history of the sport.
Facts. Is he the White Sox goat?
Is Frank the White Sox GOAT? For
I
me,
say
no
yes.
question. Yeah, no doubt about it. No, absolutely, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's 100% Frank.
Super
Um,
agreed.
Update on the game. Um, when this game started, the White Sox were up 5-0 after the second inning. We just went into overtime. So we in the 10th inning now, and it's tied 5 apiece. So
These last two games.
wait, timeout. Another live update. Sox just scored, so it's 6-5 White Sox in the
These
top of
last
the
two
season. So
games have been our best offensive production all year. So
that is 100% facts because scoring runs for this team has been like pulling teeth.
facts.
The White Sox are literally on pace to have one of the worst offenses in baseball in recent memory. Like, close
Yeah,
your eyes, cover your ears if you don't want to hear just a bunch of putrid statistics. Um, Through the first 10 games, the White Sox obviously were 1-9 through their first 10 games. They scored 16 runs through those first 10 games. Fewest runs in the history of the franchise since 1968.
yeah, no, we're the least runs in the league. Only
That's not where you want to
Minnesota.
be.
Yeah, Minnesota's slightly higher than Oakland A's,
Exactly.
Mariners. Nothing but low
And
offense all around.
and that's even worse when you think about the fact that Minnesota's played 2 less games than the White Sox.
Facts.
So, and to keep on hammering the point home, right? The Sox are currently tied for 30th in home runs with Minnesota. Tied for 30th in runs scored. Sox are 29th in hits, 29th in total bases, 30th in
Facts.
RBIs. Again, Minnesota's the only other team that's comparable with these numbers, and they played less games than us. So there's a reason for them to be down where they are. The reason for us is we're just bad. And oh yeah, everybody's hurt again. So this is really not looking good at all from an offensive perspective. I mean, as a team, the White Sox are basically hitting 200, 267, and 303 as a
What,
whole squad.
yeah, no, we're bottom three in batting average, but coincidentally enough, we're middle of the road in strikeouts. Our highlight offensively is that we're literally spots 15 through 20 are in strikeouts. So we're not striking out. We're just not hitting the ball in well placed areas. And I don't understand why not with the new rules, but the defenses can't shift. We should be
Mhm.
scoring more, not less. This doesn't make sense. You would think a team that's not striking out in the bottom half would be one of the top scorers, one of the top batting average teams, one of the top contact teams, and that's just not what we're getting from this offense. So then who do you blame?
100%.
Do you blame the hitting coach? Do you blame the manager? Do you blame the bases coach, the strength and conditioning coach? How do we get more offense without bringing in free agents, without changing the system? What can we do? What are your suggestions we can do to change?
Well, if we're talking about blame, there's enough blame to go around for everybody involved. The manager, the hitting coach, strength and conditioning coach, the GM, ownership, concessions, the guy who maintains the side on the field. Anybody can get it. Everybody can get this blame right now. If I'm pulling up, if I'm doing a drive-by with a blame gun, everybody getting hit because they're all culpable.
Of the specific roster, which individual player would you call out like, hey, you're either getting paid this much or you're in the top five in the order and you're hitting like you should be at the bottom five, who of all these players do you think should get the most blame? And then also at the same time, what's the one spark or the one good thing that you, or one good player that you're like, you know what, he's better than I thought he would be in this offense?
So, ironically enough, or unfortunately, had you posed that question to me last week, my answer to that would have been Yohan Moncada, because through the first
As
six,
good
seven
or bad?
games or so, as good, because he
Okay,
was actually having a positive season. I mean, I think he was averaging what, 280 in
facts.
terms of his batting average. He was hitting a lot of doubles. I
I
mean,
think we said he was our best
solid.
preseason player. He was our best preseason
I
player
think
coming
he,
off preseason.
yeah, I think he had a solid enough preseason. But yeah, it would have been Yohan Moncada would have been my answer, um, from a positive standpoint. Um, right now, my answer has changed to Gavin Sheets, because
Mm,
he's been forced into action because of, again, the injuries. Aloy's out, um, Robert's out, so Gavin Sheets is going to get more playing time. Previously, I had said he's basically your platoon player, right? He's a guy that you want to hit left-handed pitchers at home, because the numbers and the odds show that those are favorable situations for him. But he's a guy now who's going to be called into action to do more. Today, he's actually doing well. I mean, again, I got the game pulled up live. We're doing live updates right now as we do this podcast. So, um, to Sheets' credit, he's actually 3 for 5 right now with a home run. And all 5 runs, or 5 of the 6 runs, I should say, are due to Gavin Sheets.
okay.
So kudos to him, right? Kudos to him. I mean, he's stepped into a situation where next man up, and he's responded favorably to this point. I mean, again, everything is about, what have you done for me lately in the business of sports, no matter what sport it is. What have you done for me lately? You're as good as your last game, your last several games before the end. So, to his credit, he's doing good. Um, from the negative standpoint, I mean, I could really look at any number of guys.
Sure.
Um, Andrew Vaughn,
Really?
Andrew Benintendi. Like, I mean,
There we go. So
I,
just say the Andrews. Any Andrew.
I mean,
All the Andrews.
if you name Andrew, there's probably smoke coming in your direction, because you're not offensively, you're not doing enough right now, right? I mean, Benintendi's hitting 149, 216, 170. What are we doing right now? That's that's not big league production. Now, he's not hitting at the very top of the order as a result of that, but that's not big league production. Andrew Vaughn, 214, 298, 262 slug. This is a guy who's supposed to be the heir at first base to Jose Abreu when he got unceremoniously handed his
We
walking
go.
papers.
Facts.
So this is not quality production that we can count on a day in, day out basis, or night in, night out basis, when baseball is a sport that's played virtually every single day. These are two guys that need to produce more, and to this point, they're not producing, and it's shown in their games, and it's shown throughout the entirety of the lineup, to where this offense is simply not functioning at all. Like, again, 30th, 29th, 30th, 20. Like, I can go through almost every offensive statistic across the sport, and the Sox are bottom 2, bottom 3, worst. Like, there's nothing encouraging about this offense. Again, you did point out um, some good things, but there's a lot of bad with this offense, a lot, and it needs to get fixed, regardless of who's running out there in the lineup every day. They need to find other ways to set up some productivity for these players, to put them in better positions to score some more runs for you, because this is not good.
At all. It is bad. As far as my shining light came out of nowhere guy, Corey Lee. I didn't expect him to be
Mm.
this good. Maldonado's the actual starter. I thought Maldonado would keep the catcher job just full time, but We're still
Valid.
doing that split up catchers part time thing, whatever. And Corey Lee, he's basically gotten sheet stats, or at least very similar, but at less attempts. And I think he might I have to look that up. He might have the highest batting average on the team. So he's coming in part time, doing full time numbers. I wouldn't be mad if we made him the full time catcher, but then it's kind of a waste having Maldonado. But if we're going to be, I don't know how we can fit both because Maldonado is doing pretty terrible. I think he's batting like .091 as far as offensively. So
Not
he
good,
he,
to
he
say
can't
the
hit.
least.
But you could argue he has better defense. But for a catcher, how much better defense do you need? A lot, because it is protecting home plate. So if you're going to have a catcher there, if you're going to have someone at catcher, you definitely want more defense than offense. But at the same time, this is a team with no offense. Like if Corey Lee messes up defensively, I think defense can be fixed. Not sure how fast it'll take. I'm sorry, defense can be fixed quicker. Not sure how long it'll take to fix offense. But I say stick with that hand, make Corey Lee the full timer, stop all this splitting up who gets to catch what. Just put in Corey Lee and just see if we can improve somehow on Maldonado's batting. I think like agreed with you though. It would have been Moncada if he didn't get hurt. He's by far been our best offensive player, but with him injured, and Robert injured, I slowly fall to Corey Lee. Which, if everyone is healthy, Corey Lee probably he'd definitely be in the top 5 offensive players we have with Sheets, Eloy, Robert, and Sheets, Aloy, Robert, Moncada, and Lee. Those 5, because Vaughn has just been a little bit disappointing. He's also my
Yeah.
worst. I had high hopes for Vaughn. I thought he'd come in out the gate. I'm not saying I expected Mike Trout numbers, but I was one of those guys that wouldn't be shocked like everyone else if he put up Mike Trout's numbers, because when they had him in outfield, for some odd reason, his offense was much better last year when he was on offense. I think he almost had without looking it up, had to be 24 home runs, or maybe I'm over exaggerating his home runs, but I think he was in the 20s. And I'm thinking, all right, you can only improve from there. Let me look it up now. And I think his batting average was a lot higher. I don't know if he was a rookie last year, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you could call this, I guess, if you want, the sophomore slump. No, he wasn't a rookie last year. He was a rookie in 2021, but this is his first full-time year without Abreu. This is his first year not at first base, finally taking over officially. But last few years, Vaughn has just been I don't know. I thought he's been pretty great. His averages were a lot better. 258, 271, 235, nothing to scream home about, but better than his current 205 now. But his career batting average is 255. He got 36, 38 hits last 2 years. That's what we want. And he got 21 home runs last year, not 24. So I was off by 3. But he's improved every year. This is the first year he's down. And I don't know if it's because he doesn't have protection in the lineup like he did the last few years when Abreu was there and others, or whatever it is. But sometimes that can also be an issue when you don't have the protection anymore and you move to a different spot in the order. But whatever it is, Vaughn has to fix that.
100% he has to fix it. And live update again, bottom of the 10th, game tied 6-6 now.
Oh,
Josh Naylor just doubled. Josh Naylor, he enjoys smacking around the White Sox, man.
Absolutely.
I've seen more games than I care to remember of Josh Naylor just smacking the White Sox around and making it very uncomfortable. But yeah, man, 6 runs, bottom of the 10th. Cleveland has 2 on, 1 out. So
I've never seen Bieber have a bad game against the White Sox. I've seen him have a bad game against everyone else, just not us.
Can I agree with that? I don't know if I can agree with that. I don't know if I can agree with that, because I want to say in years past that Abreu stacked up well with Bieber. But Bieber didn't pitch today regardless, so we Gucci.
No, he's injured too.
Bases loaded now.
That's not good in the
No,
overtime.
it's not good at all. Bases loaded now in extra innings. Bases loaded, one out. Looking like Cleveland might walk this off here in the next few moments, but we'll keep you updated. We'll see what happens.
Oh, I can't wait to look at the Grand Slam highlights.
Um, Listen, so let's be honest, right? You start the game off 1-0 in the first inning. You get 4 more runs in the second. You're up 5-0. By the fourth inning, it's basically tied up, 5 runs each. Now you're in the bottom of the 10th, bases loaded, looking like you're going to lose a game that was going your way and everything was positive. You asked earlier who deserves the blame. You asked who on the field deserves blame and a little bit of praise as well. At this point, do we start looking at blaming the manager? Is Grafal the right man for the job? Is it too early to start asking that question? Well, I set you up with the alley so clean. Like I was
I'm
D
just
Wade
not
on him
here
right
yet.
just then, bro. I was D Wade on him, and you missed all of
I'm
that.
pulling the layup. I wanted to dunk, but I'm pulling the layup because Grafal, as bad as he's been, has an argument because one, he's a new manager. Two, it's not a depleted roster, but they're not helping him trading away Cease. These injuries aren't helping
True.
him. It's not AAA team bad, but a healthy White Sox, in my opinion, is just as good as a current Cubs who are having a great start and we're not. I don't know if the difference is defense. I don't know if the
Mhm.
difference is offense. I don't know if the difference is all of the above. But Crochet panned out, which means he knows what he's doing. We easily could have said why, because I think we did in the beginning. We insinuated, why is Crochet starting? Why did we need to move
We
Cease?
did.
This pitching going to
We
be
did.
horrible. And he surprised us like, hey, I'm the manager. I know what I'm doing. Crochet's a starter. So with little moves like that, he gets leeway. But at the same time, we have no offense. Like, all right, you can pick pitching. You can manage the pitching. What about managing this offense? What about managing this defense? We had a slow start offensively, and even though we might lose today, last game we scored 7. This game we scored 6. We score 6 or 7 a game. We'll be back to 500 in no time. And mind you, we're injured. Imagine if we were healthy. So I don't know how long we can keep this up. Tomorrow we might get shut out again. I've also seen us get shut out too many times, which is,
Too
I
many
think we've
times
got
this season already, as it
right.
stands. The Sox have been shut out too many times, and the game just went final. So
Oh, so was it a grand
Cleveland
slam or just a base hit?
Cleveland wins 7-6. No, it was just a single.
No.
Yeah, just a base hit. That's all they needed. So game over. Guardians win 7-6, beat the White Sox in the bottom of the 10th. So
So what's the
extra
record
inning
now? Two and
with
10?
them. 2-10, yeah.
Uh yeah, I'm looking at the total numbers. I'm trying to see what we're bad at. As far as pitching, overall, we're not we're middle of the road in a lot of stuff. So I can't blame the pitching or yeah, everything I see we're ranked like between 15th to 20th ish, give or take. So as far as all our pitching numbers, we're in the middle of the road. Even let me see, home runs given up. Home runs given up again. Home runs given up. We're kind of middle of the road. The Toronto Blue Jays and St. Louis Cardinals have the most home runs given up. I didn't have that on my bingo card, but it's just like just little things you do great on pitching, or no, not say great because that's over exaggerated. Little things we do decent with on pitching, but offense, like you stated earlier, we're bottom of everything. And how do we fix the offense? We didn't know earlier. We did blame them. Yeah, I'm giving right now.
You're giving a lot of
Pedro,
grace. You're giving a lot of grace right now
I
to
am. I
Pedro.
am. I'm giving him a C because I want to see where we are by the middle of the season. I'm pretty sure we'll be under 500, but I say that so I can have low expectations. So just like I did with Crochet earlier, if he does do well, better than what I think we're going to be, it'll make him look better. Because right now my standards are so low that if you equal the bad standards that I have for you, that says you're bad. Because I'm trying to give you as much leeway as I can, not to not to put you in a bad light if I can help it. How about you?
Okay. I mean, look, I'm willing to give him some grace. I'll throw him some bail for the time being. I mean, again, we are still early in the season. It's only April. There's time to turn it around. I won't necessarily say he's going to turn it around. Again, the improvement you want to see is you want to see improvement in the overall product. It may not result in you winning, you know, 95 games this year, but the expectation wasn't that the White Sox were going to win 95 games. It was that they were going to be on the
Facts.
opposite end of the spectrum, losing closer to 100 games this season. And we see currently that they're trending in that direction. But there are other ways to judge the manager, and ways to do that is the product on the field improving? Are these guys still competing hard day in and day out, regardless of the injuries that they're facing, regardless of the opponents that are coming in every single night? Are you still going out and competing? Are you still putting your best foot forward? Or are you immediately putting your head down and saying, oh, it's 1-0, now it's 2-0, now it's 15-2. Like when you start seeing those things happen on a consistent basis, you really have to start saying, when do we get this guy up out of here? But I mean, again, I'm willing to give him some time, like you are as well. I'll give him a little bit of grace, but I feel as though we're going to be asking this question consistently every week or every other week. We're going to be judging Pedro Cafal on whether or not he's the right man for the job for this team, or if he's just the placeholder for this team for when they do start turning things around, and he's just the
Oh,
guy to get you.
I can answer that right now. Is he the right man for the job? Absolutely not. Can he prove to us that he is? Because right now the level is, or the consensus is, he is not the right man for the job. But I am willing to give him a chance to prove that he is, because I don't know how he got hired. I don't know what he had to do to get hired. I won't have any explicit dirty jokes right now because everyone expects that from me. But I am being mature for this one segment. Just this one time, I'm being mature. I don't know how he got the job. Clearly, he is very persuasive at getting the job, and I feel like with jobs as with baseball managers, especially when they're going the route of giving someone with no experience the job, he had to have a really good plan of what he wants to do to develop guys. Because I don't think you go in thinking, all right, we're going to give you these guys, and we're going to trade away your best pitcher and expect you to do something good. I think Getz is in player development mode. I think that's all this is. But at the same time, how long are we going to wait for player development? We have a team up north that's still developing players while winning at the same time. So whatever we need to do to combine player developing and wins, let's do that. It shouldn't just be the only young guy that's looking good is Crochet and Corey Lee and Gavin Sheets. We should see the veterans be veterans and all the young guys looking good offensively
Right,
and defensively. How long
right.
is that going to take? I have no idea. But everyone's playing just as bad as Benintendi right now, outside of the few names we mentioned, and he has been absolutely terrible. And I was a little shocked at Vaughn. I don't know if they hang out after work, but if Vaughn and Benintendi do hang out after work, they need to stop hanging out. Vaughn needs to stop
All the
hanging out.
all the Andrews get together and go kick it at the same
Yeah, yeah.
time.
The
Yeah,
the
we need to
the
stop that.
the, the daily Andrew hangouts, they need
No
to
more
quit.
Andrew functions. We got to
No,
stop the
no.
Andrew functions to get together. That's
Anyone
enough
named
of that.
Andrew, Andrew Luck, Andrew Carnegie, Andrew Schultz, all the Andrews need to just separate. So Andrew Vaughn can find whatever he was doing the last couple of years and
Yeah,
improve on that, like he's been doing.
he better meditate or something. But
Something.
yeah,
It's
get it
ridiculous.
together. Get it together in a hurry.
Facts.
So game is over. These dudes done coughed up one. We didn't get a chance to go into anything that happened from the previous week. Um, why don't you go ahead and update the people on last week's information on what happened last week?
Hey, so the reason we missed last week's episode, I had prior engagements with a companion friend. And me and that companion friend me and her, we went to the Sox game, and it was quite delightful. I got to see Garrett Crochet live in the rain, in the cold. I thought he was going to be terrible. I rubbed my hands together like Birdman. Oh man, that buddy is going to get lit up. Little did I know he came ready for war and anything happening, and he massively impressed me. I don't know who else he might have impressed or not impressed, but he impressed me. He had great control. He had great whip. Anything and everything he was throwing, and I think he ended up with like 8 Ks in 7 innings. Because that's kind of what you want. A good pitcher gets 1 K a game. A great pitcher gets 2 Ks. I mean, I'm sorry. A good
You mean the
pitcher,
inning?
yeah, gets 1 K an inning. A great
Yeah,
pitcher can get 2 Ks in a couple innings while still getting 1 K and everything. And great pitcher. Now we're getting a Pedro Martinez territory where you're throwing 3 Ks in at least 2 separate innings while still at minimum throwing 1 to 2 Ks in every inning. That's the levels the pitching, because I'm a strikeout guy. I know a lot of people love the non-strikeout off-ball pitchers like Tommy Maddox. He didn't need 100 strikes. He just have you hit a bunch of foul balls and then he could strike you the last one. I'm the guy who likes the Randy Johnsons, the Pedro Martinez's. I lean towards more of the strikeout artists, and I guess he's developed. I'm not even gonna say developing. Developed to a very good, for now, second tier. No, I wouldn't say second tier because it's still one per inning. Very good
I mean,
Crochet. Garrett
yeah,
Crochet is turning to a very good tier 3 strikeout artist. 1K per inning. He plays about 7 innings, so he'll get you 7 Ks, sometimes 8. But he did have his first start though. He did throw like 2 in 2 separate innings, and I think he got like 8 Ks in 6 innings. So he's growing. He's getting up there. He surprised the heck out of me. I didn't think he was going to be terrible, but
right.
just because it's hard to gauge things when they literally let go the opening day starter a week earlier. Like, all right, Crochet. We know we weren't going to start you, but now we are. So it low key makes me a little bit annoyed you traded Cease that fast, because who knows if that would have added a couple more wins with Cease and Gavin Sheets there just wheeling and dealing, because now Gavin Sheets is going up against the opponent's number 2 pitcher and Cease is going up against the number 1, instead of now Gavin Sheets is going up against their top pitcher, and it just throws things off. It could have added an extra one or two, but I'm trying to believe in Getz, what he's doing. But like we said earlier, it's a waiting game. Baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. So you just got to
Big
kind
facts.
of got to wait it out. How about you? Oh yeah, right. Back to the story. We saw Crochet live. Then coincidentally, in the 6th inning, went to use the bathroom. I was lying. I didn't go to use the bathroom. I just had to get away from my companion friend for a little bit because I saw another companion friend that looked just as pretty walking the other way solo. So I left my current companion friend to go meet another companion friend, and then we had a date the next day. So because of that, I'm sorry, I said date. We had a adventure. Is encouraging the right word? A
It
quest. I
works.
like quest.
It
We had a
works.
quest the next day. So because of that, because of my entanglements, we couldn't have a episode on Tuesday or on Wednesday of last week because there's the wires and cables. Too many entanglements. So so
I need you to get your priorities in order. Right?
I'm trying to.
Priorities. We need you to
I,
get your priorities together. Um, I still want to backtrack though. Props to Garrett Crochet though. I mean, you
facts.
pulled up in the building, you saw him live, he did his thing. Um, Props to him. I mean, again, we said coming into this year before it started, um, he's never started a professional game
Absolutely.
in the big leagues. It's never happened. He pitched prior to the season beginning. He pitched less than 100 innings in his career with the White Sox.
Because
That's
he was always
combining.
middle relief, right?
He was always coming up in relief. So kudos to him for coming in the first start of the year, handling business. Then his following start, handling business. I mean, again, he's pitched 2 games. He's got 21 strikeouts in 2 games. He's got one
Yeah.
walk. I
I think to
mean,
start the week he was leading the league in strikeouts. But after Glasnow's show yesterday for the Dodgers, I think he had like 14 Ks. I'm pretty sure Crochet isn't leading the league in strikeouts anymore. But he's been
No,
our shining light.
but I mean, yeah, as a pitcher through 2 games for the White Sox, he's been tremendous. So big
Absolutely.
props to him. Kudos for him for coming in and answering the call and when he's been handed the ball. I mean, you can't say anything bad to him at this point. But as I said earlier in the show, sports is a what have you done for me lately business. And for a pitcher, you're only as good as your last start.
Facts.
So even though he was dynamite those first two, when he takes the mound again, he's going to have to show it again and again and again and again throughout the course of the year. That's what the job is. That's the expectation. So, I mean, I'm happy for what I've seen from him to this point. It was definitely encouraging. I want to see if it can continue going forward.
I think
But
it can.
I mean, so far the metrics are positive in his favor. So I mean, his whip's good, his FIP's good, like all of the baseball statistics that the stat geeks would love. Sometimes you could call me a stat geek. Um, all of those things are positive. I
And
mean,
then 3 teams he faced so far have been
two,
the
two.
Atlanta game, Detroit,
Yep,
Atlanta,
Detroit
and
and Atlanta.
no KC. I think we just faced KC earlier. Was it this week or last week? But he did play KC. I don't know how many innings he pitched against KC though.
I'd have to look at it because I don't recall. Because I want to say he probably had another good one. I have to go back and dig through the crates. But he's been positive, man. I don't
Yes,
have anything negative to say about him. So
same.
again, definitely
Absolutely.
I definitely wanted to give him some flowers for that. Just because I mean, again, you go out and you rock out like he did, man, you deserve to get some flowers thrown your way. So kudos, Scare Crochet.
Now,
But
have you been surprised we didn't take the? I thought for sure going into the season, hiring a new manager, we're going to take the analytical route because he's a new manager. Just stick with the numbers. As long as he follows that, anyone can be manager. But he did not take the analytical route. He did the standard starting pitcher, 7 innings, relief, one, maybe even half an inning, and then your closer, of course, Kopech, which I was shocked about. I thought we'd go through 5 pitchers per game like you're starting to see more and more teams do, where starters might make it to fifth inning at most, and then middle relief 1 inning, another middle relief 2 innings, sometimes even 3 middle relievers, and then your closer.
I mean, I can't say it's a surprise because we're still getting to know Griffall. So I can't say anything he does really surprises me to this point. I question everything that he does. That's for darn sure. I definitely will question it because I'm not 100% certain his decision making is thorough. Again, like you said, I mean, analytics is definitely something that is important. That should be emphasized in today's game. I can't say he's completely ignoring it or looking away from it or not using it at all. But his decision making is still going to be questionable, and we're going to be questioning it for the foreseeable future. To your Crochet point, I did just dig in the crates and look it up. Against KC, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, no walks, 77 pitches. So he was done after 5. So whether you want to chalk that up to analytics from Griffall or whether you want to chalk that up to maybe he just felt like he didn't have it that day, because 77 pitches through 5 is not exactly a super taxing workload.
Facts.
I mean, I'd argue he probably could have gotten through 6, but maybe he went with his gut. Maybe he went with the analytics. It's tough to say.
No, I agree. And I'm looking at the numbers here, which I've been starting to notice. Sorry, horrible segue, but to other pitchers on the roster, I don't know if it's because Kopech is now relief, he's pitching better, but he's pitching so good at relief. I honestly want to make him a starter again. In 5 games he's played, he's given up only 2 runs, and those are people that were already on base. And then, like for example, like I don't know if it was how many games we played against Cleveland, 2 or 1. I think 2, and then we got a third one coming. But in one of the games, he only pitched like it wasn't even 2 innings, and he still got no, it was half an inning, and he got 4 Ks. And I'm like, well, if he's starting off hot again and he's not back to walking people immediately, see how he does as a starter. Because after Crochet, then we get the Fed, then it's all bad. The rest of the pitching staff, we are very depleted after Crochet and then Fed on pitching. It's so bad that I think we should bring back Kopech as a starter, and then I don't know when Clevenger is going to start. I don't even know why he was brought back. I don't think he was that great when we had him last year, and he was supposed to get paid $12 million. So I don't know what happened to start talks again and bring him back. But eventually he's going to be back in the rotation, and I'm sure he'll be fifth in the rotation. But who does he replace, or who do you think he replaces?
Well, I mean, he was brought back because you need people to eat innings. I mean, that's why he was brought back. They don't have a lot of guys to eat innings that they can really count on. His last year here, he was fairly competent. I mean, he had a good enough year for the White Sox. I wouldn't have brought him back because there's certain optics around him. So I wouldn't have brought him back for those optics, which I don't want to necessarily get into at this point. But
right.
That's why I necessarily would not have brought him back. But he didn't have a terrible year last year. And the reason he's here is because you need warm bodies who can throw the baseball. That's really it. And he's cheaper this year than he was last year.
That's true.
But for a team that's 2-9 to start the year, I mean, does it really matter? You know what I mean? Does it really matter? And in terms of Kopech, it seems very apparent to me that they don't trust him as a starter.
Yep,
they trust him enough to get through an inning and a half, 2 innings at most, at best. You know, go out and get 4 guys out in a row, and then we can sit you down, as opposed to you going out there and trying to squeeze through and sneak through 5 or 6 innings. And then your command goes, your control goes, your fastball gets flat, and it gets smashed all over the ballpark. So I think that's where everything stands. They don't trust them.
Gotcha. White Sox just lost. Can't wait to look up the highlights. I didn't get to watch the game today. And thank you, audience, for watching us. This is, once again, the White Sox Did What podcast, brought to you by JJ3 and me, his co-host, Harry. Great to see you guys. See you guys again next week. Bye. Oh, sorry. Let me finish with how does that saying go? Dang, go, girl. Fuck it. Whatever. See y'all. Bye.